My brothers and sisters, may the Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your heavenly Father. For he makes his sun rise on the just and the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what recompense will you have? Do not the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet your brothers only, what is unusual about that? Do not the pagans do the same? So be perfect, just as your heavenly Father is perfect." The Gospel of the Lord. I think every time we hear that term, be perfect as the Heavenly Father is perfect, we're kind of taken aback, trying to think, how can we possibly be like God? How can we do that kind of thing in our lives? We have to understand that the concept of perfection, as it is used by Jesus, and essentially as it's used in the Scriptures, is a little bit different from the initial meaning that we usually put with the word perfection. It's not the kind of perfection that a hostess shows in having a flawless table set or a room being exactly in order with regard to all the things that are in it. It's not that kind of perfection. It is rather kind of along the lines of being a perfect stranger, for example, that the person is totally a stranger, that everything about them, we don't know anything about them. And it is that totalness, that integrity, that fullness that God is calling us to through Jesus. We must become like the Father, be as he is, totally in union with him, totally in union with those around us. It's because of that, of course, that he gives yet another example of us going beyond the measures of what a pagan would do or what you would do with regard to your friends, that those people always will be concerned and caring for those that they love and know. But we, being perfect as the Father, being totally as he is, must end up being that way with regard to even our persecutors. And surely in this day and age, sadly, we see more and more examples throughout our world of persecution happening of Christian communities, and how the retaliation, more often than not, is kind of the desire or the example that's being thrown back and forth. But as far as we're concerned as Christians, it's never retaliation, as he suggested yesterday, but it is rather our praying and being concerned for those who end up persecuting us. He goes on to suggest to us in Matthew's account that the Lord rains down on both the just and the unjust, and he oversees all. He gives everyone the opportunity for salvation. He invites everyone to be part of his family. But then at that point, he steps off aside and does not take us like puppets on strings, but leaves us the freedom that we have as human beings to make the choice. Hopefully our choice always then is to be in the line of Jesus, in the place of him, and to try to the best of our ability to keep working in our own hearts to make it a natural kind of virtue and habit on our part of becoming perfect as the Heavenly Father is perfect.